The answer is none. You are not in control of your subconscious mind. Want to know who is? Keep watching. The idea that you're in control of your life is one of the biggest illusions ever sold to us. Think about your last significant decision. Maybe it was choosing a job, moving to a new city, or even picking what to eat for dinner. You likely felt like you made those choices freely. But did you really? Let's break this down with a simple example. You go to a restaurant and pick a meal from the menu. You think you chose that burger because you wanted it. But what actually led to that choice? The menu was created by someone else. The prices influenced your decision. The photos made certain items look more appealing. Your past experiences with burgers, the time of day, your budget, and even the weather played a part. This goes far deeper than food choices. The schools you attended, the friends you made, the career path you followed, all seemed like your decisions, yet they were shaped by countless factors outside your awareness. Your parents' choices, your economic background, where you were born, and the culture you grew up in all pushed you in certain directions. Social media reveals this illusion of control with startling clarity. We believe we are freely scrolling and clicking, but behind the screen, teams of experts have designed algorithms specifically to predict and guide our behavior. They know what will capture our attention, what will make us click, and what will keep us watching. Our free choice to spend hours on these platforms isn't truly free at all. Even our thoughts aren't as original as we assume. The very language we use to think came from others. The ideas we consider revolutionary often stem from things we've seen, read, or heard before. Our brains are pattern-matching machines, combining old information in novel ways that merely feel new to us. Money is another perfect example. We work jobs we often don't enjoy to buy things we're told will bring us happiness. We follow financial patterns established long before we were born, using currency we didn't create within an economic system we didn't choose, and yet we still feel in control of our financial decisions. The truth is, we are more like leaves floating down a river than captains steering a ship. We can make small adjustments, but the current, the powerful, unseen forces in our lives carries us along paths largely determined by others. This doesn't mean we are entirely powerless, but our autonomy is far more limited than we prefer to believe. Consider how advertising works. Companies spend billions studying human behavior because they know our choices can be predicted and influenced. They don't view us as free agents making rational decisions. They see us as predictable consumers responding to careful manipulation. Our political views, which we fiercely defend as personal convictions, often mirror those of our parents or social circle. Our taste in music, clothing, and entertainment tends to follow patterns dictated by our age, location, and social class. Even our romantic partners frequently fit predictable molds based on our backgrounds. This might sound discouraging, but understanding the illusion of control can be profoundly liberating. When we stop pretending we have total command, we can focus on the modest choices we can actually influence. We can be more forgiving of ourselves when things go awry, recognizing that most outcomes weren't entirely within our hands to begin with. Observing successful people underscores this point. Many attribute their achievements solely to hard work and sound decision-making, often overlooking the fortunate circumstances that enabled their success, being born in the right place, meeting the right people, or receiving opportunities others were denied. The greatest trick isn't just that we lack as much control as we imagine. It's that we are conditioned to believe that failure results from poor choices rather than systemic factors. This keeps us focused on changing ourselves instead of questioning the structures that constrain our options. Acknowledging this illusion doesn't require surrendering your agency or ceasing to improve your life. Instead, it means making peace with being part of a vast, interconnected system that influences us in ways we cannot always perceive. It encourages a more realistic appraisal of what we can and cannot change, and perhaps fosters greater compassion for ourselves and others when plans unravel. Neuroscience confirms that our brains initiate decisions before we become consciously aware of them. Experiments demonstrate that researchers can predict a person's choice several seconds before the individual is even conscious of making it. This revelation challenges fundamental assumptions about free will and the extent of our command over our own decisions. Reflect on the last time you made a purchase. You may believe you deliberated freely, but your brain had likely already decided before you experienced the sensation of choosing. Brain imaging studies show activity in decision-making regions up to 10 seconds before people report being aware of their choice. Your brain employs two primary systems for processing information and making choices. The first is fast, automatic, and rooted in emotions and ingrained habits. The second is slower, more logical, and requires deliberate mental effort. The vast majority of our daily decisions are generated by the fast system. We are essentially running on autopilot. Your habits and past experiences forge neural pathways that strengthen with repetition, making bad habits difficult to break because your brain is wired to default to these familiar routes. Marketing firms are acutely aware of this and design advertisements to target these automatic cognitive processes. Your brain chemistry also profoundly influences your decisions. Dopamine, which generates feelings of pleasure, motivates you to repeat behaviors. Corporations leverage this knowledge to engineer products and experiences, from social media notifications to certain foods that trigger dopamine release, effectively hacking your motivational system. These neural patterns are sculpted by your environment from birth. What you see, hear, and experience creates the framework for your decision-making long before you possess the capacity to consciously reflect on them. By the time you are old enough to contemplate your choices, many of these patterns are already deeply embedded. Stress significantly alters your brain's decision-making machinery. When under pressure, your brain relies more heavily on the fast, emotional system, leading to impulsive choices and impairing careful, logical deliberation. This explains why people often make regrettable decisions in high-stakes situations. Your brain also depends on mental shortcuts known as cognitive biases to render swift judgments. These biases, which aided our ancestors' survival, often lead us astray in the modern world. For instance, we frequently perceive patterns where none exist and recall negative experiences more vividly than positive ones. Social influence directly shapes your brain's choices. When you observe others making decisions, mirror neurons in your brain activate, increasing your likelihood of imitating those behaviors. This neural mechanism helps explain why trends and fads propagate so rapidly within communities. Even your physical state dictates your cognitive capacity. The food you consume and the quality of your sleep directly impact your brain's ability to make sound decisions. Poor nutrition and sleep deprivation hinder the logical system, which is why grocery shopping while hungry often results in less healthy choices. Finally, your brain's decision-making capabilities evolve throughout your lifespan. As you age, changes in neural structure and function continuously influence how you perceive options and make choices, meaning the very apparatus of your free will is itself in a constant state of flux. The manner in which you make decisions evolves significantly over time. Older individuals frequently arrive at different conclusions than their younger counterparts, because their brains process information through a distinct neurological lens. This divergence is not inherently negative. Often it culminates in wiser, more nuanced judgments steeped in a wealth of life experience. Comprehending these underlying cerebral processes grants you a greater awareness of your own choice-making mechanisms. While you cannot entirely bypass your brain's automatic heuristic systems, you can cultivate the ability to pause and engage in more deliberate reflective thought for consequential decisions. Implementing simple changes can significantly enhance the quality of your choices. Prioritizing adequate rest, maintaining a nutritious diet, and actively managing stress collectively optimize your brain's operational efficiency. Forging new, beneficial habits is a process that demands patience, as it involves the gradual construction and reinforcement of fresh neural pathways. Meanwhile, major corporations and advertisers meticulously study these very processes to subtly influence your behavior. They engineer store layouts, advertisements, and products specifically to trigger subconscious, automatic responses within your brain. Maintaining awareness of these tactics empowers you to make more conscious, self-directed decisions. Your brain consumes approximately 20% of your body's total energy, dedicating the majority of this resource to processing information and executing decisions. This immense metabolic demand is precisely why decision-making feels mentally taxing and why individuals are prone to making inferior choices toward the conclusion of an exhausting day. The next time you make a choice, remember that complex, subconscious processes within your brain were initiated long before you became consciously aware of the decision itself. This does not equate to a lack of free will, but it vividly illustrates how your brain shapes your choices in ways that often escape immediate notice. From birth until approximately age 7, our brains exhibit exceptional neuroplasticity, absorbing the surrounding environment like sponges, largely without critical filters. During these formative years, we construct the foundational programs that fundamentally shape our perceptions of ourselves and the world. Think of it as writing the core operating code that runs continuously in the background of a computer's system. Once installed, it persists unless we consciously intervene to alter it. These early life programs are built from everything we see, hear, and experience. If a child consistently hears messages like "you're not good enough" or "don't be so silly," these directives become embedded as core beliefs. The same principle applies to positive affirmations such as "you can do anything" or "you are loved." The developing brain does not critically judge the veracity of these ideas. It simply accepts them as fundamental truth. Parents, teachers, television programs, and the broader community all contribute data to this ongoing programming. A child exposed to hours of commercials learns to associate desire with products and to feel incomplete without them. A child who witnesses violence at home may internalize conflict as a normal component of relationships. These lessons become deeply ingrained within the psyche, establishing patterns that can endure for decades. However, here is the crucial insight most people overlook. These subconscious programs continue to operate throughout our adult lives, often without our conscious recognition. Consider someone who struggles to save money. They may have internalized early messages that money is inherently scarce or morally corrupt. An individual who cannot maintain healthy relationships might have learned during childhood that love is invariably intertwined with pain. Influential control systems understand this period of heightened susceptibility profoundly. They saturate children's programming with specific messages, design educational systems to cultivate certain types of workers, and promote parenting styles that yield adults who conform to their economic and social needs. It is analogous to writing the foundational software for a future society. Reflect on how traditional schooling often emphasizes sitting still, adhering to rules without question, and accepting authority figures unconditionally. These are not merely classroom management techniques. They are methods of programming future adults to be compliant within structured systems. When children learn that their self-worth is derived from external validation like grades and rule following, they mature into adults who perpetually seek approval from established systems and authorities. Social media now performs a monumental role in this modern programming landscape. Children are exposed to meticulously curated images and narratives that shape their conceptions of success, beauty, and happiness. They are conditioned to seek digital validation through likes, to constantly compare themselves to others, and to experience anxiety when disconnected. These are not accidental outcomes. They are deliberately engineered, programmed responses. The empowering news is that our brains retain a degree of plasticity throughout our lives, allowing us to rewrite these programs. The first essential step is to identify the subconscious software that is running us. Do you instinctively feel unworthy in specific scenarios? Do you possess financial habits that seem irrational? These could be manifestations of old programming at work. Liberation begins with recognizing these deep-seated patterns. You must critically question beliefs you have always held as immutable truths. Ask yourself, is this belief objectively true, or was it simply implanted in me during my youth? Many traits we consider intrinsic to our personality are in fact installed programs. Observe your internal dialogue. The critical voice in your head often parrots the phrases and tones of childhood authority figures. If you catch yourself using their exact words, you have successfully identified an old program. From there, you can consciously choose new, affirming language and begin building healthier mental patterns. Be vigilant for emotional triggers, situations that provoke intense, automatic reactions. Perhaps you shut down when someone raises their voice, or you engage in impulsive spending when feeling sad. These reactions are frequently tethered to early programming. Once you discern the connection, you can consciously craft new, more constructive responses. Children in the digital age confront more intensive programming than any previous generation, with constant exposure to screens, apps, and algorithmically targeted content. It is therefore imperative for parents to guard this critically sensitive developmental period, actively helping children build resilient and healthy mental programs. This involves curating screen time, fostering authentic human connections, and teaching critical thinking skills from an early age. We cannot avoid programming altogether. It is the fundamental mechanism of human learning and cultural transmission, but we can heighten our awareness of it. We can identify and dismantle harmful programs, replace them with beneficial ones, and shield children from overt manipulation during their most impressionable years. Most importantly, we can reclaim sovereignty over our own mental software. The next time you experience a powerful automatic reaction to something, pause. Inquire within what subconscious program might be running right now. Remember that many of your most deeply held convictions were formed before you possessed the capacity to consciously choose them. This moment of awareness is the inaugural step toward freedom from unwanted programming. Your mind is akin to a computer possessing the unique ability to update its own operating system. You are not obligated to continue running software that no longer serves your well-being. With dedicated attention and consistent practice, you can author a new code for yourself. You can actively choose what to believe and how you wish to respond. This is the essence of true freedom, not merely the ability to do what you want, but the profound power to choose who you are. The language we employ shapes our thoughts and actions to a far greater degree than is commonly acknowledged. Consider how certain phrases persistently echo in your mind, catchy marketing slogans, fragments of song lyrics, or maxims your parents repeated. These are seldom random. They are frequently carefully selected to elicit specific psychological and behavioral responses. Language functions as a potent mold for behavior. When you hear a slogan like "just do it," your brain forges immediate subconscious links between exercise, decisive action, and the Nike brand, bypassing critical analysis. This occurs because repetitive phrasing strengthens specific neural pathways, analogous to a path worn through grass from constant use. The media leverages this effect incessantly. News outlets repeat key phrases until they become normalized modes of thinking. A phrase like "in these uncertain times" instinctively primes an audience to feel instability and anxiety. while for your safety, encourages the acceptance of new rules without rigorous scrutiny. These are not neutral collections of words. They are precision tools designed to steer public sentiment and action. Examine how children acquire language. They do not simply learn vocabulary, they absorb entire frameworks for perceiving reality. If the adults in their environment constantly say, "Be careful," or "That's dangerous," children mature perceiving the world as a fundamentally threatening place. Their entire outlook becomes filtered through a lens of apprehension, inevitably influencing their future choices. Social media amplifies this phenomenon to unprecedented levels. Short, repetitive phrases trend and become ubiquitous. Communication devolves into exchanges of memes and catchphrases, each carrying embedded assumptions that program collective responses. A phrase like "Okay, boomer" instinctively manufactures generational division, while "living my best life" fosters constant social comparison. The wider these phrases spread, the more effectively they shape mass behavior on a societal scale. Perhaps the most potent form of linguistic control occurs through the limitation of ideas. Certain concepts are amplified through endless repetition, while others are permitted to fade from common usage. Words describing particular emotions or experiences vanish from popular discourse, while new terminology emerges that categorizes people into distinct groups. The very vocabulary available to us dictates the boundaries of what is possible to think. Analyze modern political speech. A word like freedom becomes tethered to specific partisan actions. Security is used to justify control. Unity comes to mean conformity. The original profound meanings of these words become buried beneath layers of ideological programming. People are conditioned to react to the embedded emotional triggers without ever examining the underlying ideas. Corporate language performs a similar function. The term team player is often code for unquestioning compliance. Being professional can mandate the suppression of genuine emotion and individuality. Company culture frequently describes a set of programmed behaviors and values that employees are expected to assimilate. In each case, language is deployed as a subtle instrument to shape thought and behavior according to a specific agenda. Language constructs invisible walls around thought and action. Even casual conversation carries embedded programming. Small talk functions as a social shield, preventing people from discussing anything of genuine substance, while being polite often necessitates avoiding difficult truths. Common sense can become a trap that discourages questioning widely accepted ideas. These behavioral patterns become so deeply ingrained that attempting to break them feels instinctively wrong. The solution begins with consciously spotting these patterns. Notice the repetitive phrases echoed throughout media ecosystems. Question why certain terminology feels comfortable and reassuring, while alternative words feel unsettling or wrong. Actively look for missing concepts, ideas that lack easy vocabulary because they have been marginalized or suppressed. Liberating oneself necessitates building new linguistic frameworks, create new terms for hidden truths, develop words for ideas that have been systematically silenced, forge new cognitive connections that bypass conventional programming. The simple act of speaking differently inevitably leads to thinking differently. Remain vigilant for manipulation embedded within everyday speech. Sales pitches expertly hide commands within seemingly innocent questions. Political speeches are saturated with emotionally charged words that lack clear, definable meanings. Even routine greetings can carry implicit demands for specific, predictable responses. Pay close attention to rapid changes in common phrases. Observe how old terms vanish from public discourse, while new ones spread with viral speed. These linguistic shifts reveal where collective minds are being deliberately redirected. Today's engineered slang becomes tomorrow's unchallenged normal. The most profound control is exerted through grammar itself. Certain languages force speakers to make distinctions that others completely ignore. Standard word order trains the brain to process reality through a specific, narrow lens. Even punctuation subtly guides and confines thought patterns. Modern technology dramatically accelerates this language programming. Autocomplete algorithms suggest and prioritize certain words over others. Spell checkers enforce standardized usage and dismiss creative expression. Translation applications smooth out the rich, conceptual differences between languages, homogenizing thought. Each digital tool shapes human expression in subtle but powerful ways. Social pressure remains the primary enforcer of these patterns. Individuals who deviate in their speech are frequently corrected, mocked, or ostracized. Unusual phrases generate discomfort within the group, which then instinctively enforces normative speech without any conscious coordination. Breaking free requires dedicated practice. Begin by experimenting with different ways to express common ideas. Notice the precise moments when you unconsciously rely on programmed phrases. Invent new terms for concepts that currently lack vocabulary. Intentionally test the boundaries of linguistic control. Use archaic words in novel contexts, blend patterns from different languages, and express familiar ideas using deliberately unfamiliar phrasing. Each deviation from normal speech creates cognitive space for new thoughts. Observe your internal monologue with the same critical eye. Notice the specific words you use to think. Attempt to express your internal thoughts using a different vocabulary. Break apart repeated mental phrases that artificially limit the scope of your ideas. Language fundamentally shapes reality by controlling what can be easily thought and articulated. Altering language patterns therefore changes the universe of possible thoughts. New words create new mental spaces. Different grammatical structures permit different ways of perceiving the world. This knowledge brings profound responsibility. Choose words with care and intention when speaking to others. Notice how your language directly affects their thought processes. Work to break harmful linguistic patterns without inadvertently creating new, equally restrictive ones. The control systems that shape our daily lives extend far beyond words and images. They permeate the invisible spectrum of frequencies that constantly surround us. These energies affect our bodies, minds, and behaviors in ways most people never consciously perceive. Consider how different frequency ranges impact human consciousness. The human brain operates at specific resonant frequencies: delta waves during deep sleep, theta waves during deep meditation, alpha waves during relaxed states, and beta waves during active, focused thinking. By broadcasting certain engineered frequencies through various technologies, these natural brain patterns can be disrupted, overwritten, or modified. Cell phones, Wi-Fi routers, smart meters, and countless other common devices emit complex electromagnetic frequencies that interact with our biological systems. While officially categorized as safe, independent research suggests they can alter sleep architecture, increase anxiety levels, and even influence subconscious decision-making. The average person is now exposed to millions of times more electromagnetic radiation than a century ago. Sound frequencies also play a major role in behavior influence. Certain low-frequency sounds, existing below the threshold of human hearing, infrasound, can induce feelings of unease, dread, or even physical discomfort. These infrasonic frequencies have documented applications in crowd control and military technology. Similarly, shopping centers and retail environments often employ specific sonic frequencies to subconsciously influence buying behavior and pace. The most sophisticated applications synergistically combine multiple frequency types. Some television broadcasts embed both visual flicker rates and layered sound frequencies, designed to make viewers more suggestible to advertising messages. Cell tower emissions can be subtly modulated to affect large populations within specific geographic areas. The rollout of 5G networks introduces new, higher frequency bands with incomplete biological safety research. The millimeter waves used in 5G interact with human sweat glands and skin tissue. And while touted as a mere communication upgrade, the technology possesses a potential dual-use capacity for mass behavior influence. Even music and entertainment are meticulously engineered with specific frequency patterns. Numerous popular songs employ resonant frequency combinations designed to trigger heightened emotional responses or altered states of consciousness. Movie soundtracks routinely embed infrasonic frequencies during key scenes to heighten tension and anxiety, leaving viewers feeling unsettled without understanding why. The human body is fundamentally an electromagnetic system, inherently susceptible to external frequency interference. Our cells communicate via subtle electrical impulses, and our DNA responds to specific resonant frequencies. When powerful, artificial frequencies interfere with these delicate natural processes, it can degrade everything from sleep quality and immune function to mental clarity and emotional stability. Some researchers posit that certain frequency patterns can induce states of heightened suggestibility, making individuals more obedient and less likely to question authority. Others point to evidence indicating specific frequencies can suppress critical thinking or amplify particular emotional states like fear or desire. These effects can be tailored to individuals or broadcast indiscriminately to entire populations. It is crucial to recognize that natural healing frequencies also exist, those that promote well-being, coherence, and clear thinking. However, these are often drowned out by the constant artificial frequency soup that characterizes modern life. Simple defensive practices like grounding, earthing, consciously limiting device exposure, and seeking out natural environments can help restore healthy biological rhythm. Protection begins with awareness. Notice how you feel physically and mentally around different electronic devices and in various environments. Consider using shielding materials where needed and designate areas in your home as low-emission sanctuaries. Most importantly, recognize that your consciousness is constantly being influenced by energies you cannot see or hear. The silent war for human consciousness is waged daily on this frequency battlefield. While we cannot eliminate all artificial frequencies, we can take proactive steps to mitigate their impact and defend our natural biological rhythms. This awareness is becoming increasingly crucial as technology advances and new, more sophisticated frequency-based control systems continue to emerge. We must learn to look beyond the visible world to comprehend how control truly operates. The very air around us buzzes with imperceptible energies designed to influence our thoughts, emotions, and actions. By understanding this hidden layer of reality, we can better protect our minds and bodies from unwanted manipulation. This next layer of control seamlessly builds upon these foundational frequency effects through calculated social programming. These methods work in concert, creating a dense web of influence that most people never detect. But once this integrated structure is seen, it cannot be unseen, and that perception is the essential first step toward breaking free. Our thoughts and actions are sculpted by a confluence of pervasive social forces working in unison. These forces create self-reinforcing patterns that dictate how people behave, what they believe, and how they interpret the world around them. From the moment of birth, we are conditioned into specific behaviors through family, school, media, and peer groups. These lessons become so automatic that we follow them without any conscious thought. Consider the concept of money. We collectively agree to assign extreme value to small pieces of paper and digital entries, a profound abstraction that is purely a product of social programming. Education systems play a pivotal role far beyond academic instruction. Schools train students to adhere to strict schedules, obey external authority without question, and compete for standardized validation through grades. These ingrained habits carry directly into adult life, making individuals more likely to accept and perpetuate similar hierarchical structures in their workplaces and communities. Media operates as a powerful, subtle shaper of perception. News programs engage in agenda setting by selecting which stories are amplified and how they are framed, directly affecting what the public considers important and true. Entertainment media, movies and television shows generate shared cultural ideals regarding success, relationships, and what constitutes normal behavior. Advertising's function extends far beyond merely selling products. It actively creates artificial needs and meticulously associates feelings of happiness, fulfillment, and social acceptance with consumption. This conditions populations to seek satisfaction through perpetual shopping and acquisition, rather than through genuine human connection or personal development. Social media platforms employ sophisticated reward systems, likes, shares, and follow accounts, that condition users to seek constant external validation. This training incentivizes the sharing of information designed to garner attention rather than to convey truth. Simultaneously, these platforms engage in pervasive surveillance, tracking every user action to construct intricate behavioral profiles. These profiles are used to predict and, ultimately, to influence future behavior. Language itself functions as a form of programming. The vocabulary we acquire fundamentally shapes the boundaries of our thought. Certain concepts become nearly impossible to question simply because we lack the linguistic framework to articulate alternatives. Mechanisms like political correctness and trigger words can effectively shut down critical discussion around specific ideas. Fashion and trends program group behavior through social conformity. Individuals mimic the attire and actions of others to gain acceptance, driven by a deep-seated fear of ostracization. This compels many to follow along with trends they may not genuinely appreciate, thereby generating predictable and manageable consumer patterns. Celebrity culture instructs society on who to admire and emulate. Famous personalities promote specific lifestyles, products, and ideologies that millions subsequently adopt. Their influence is not innate, but derives from a social programming that erroneously equates fame with authority. Organized religion and belief systems install core programming regarding concepts of morality, purpose, and the very nature of reality. These foundational programs operate at the deepest levels of the psyche, filtering every subsequent experience and perception. Their strength lies in the fact that they feel inherently natural and true, making them exceptionally difficult to challenge. Similarly, work culture programs individuals to trade their time for money and to uncritically accept hierarchical authority. The standardized 9-to-5 schedule, enforced dress codes, and complex office politics become normalized. People internalize their worth, measuring it by job titles and annual income rather than personal fulfillment. Political divisions are engineered to keep the population focused on internal conflict, preventing the recognition of larger controlling patterns. The binary of left versus right or liberal versus conservative programs individuals to automatically reject any idea originating from the perceived other side. Fear is a primary tool in this process. A constant news cycle highlighting crime, terrorism, disease, and economic instability cultivates a pervasive state of anxiety. A frightened populace is easier to control and more likely to acquiesce to restrictions on their personal freedoms. Consumer debt acts as a trap, ensnaring individuals within the system. Student loans, mortgages, and credit card balances create long-term financial obligations. This forces people to remain in undesirable jobs because the necessity of a steady income to service their debt becomes paramount. Social pressure rigorously enforces conformity. Those who dare to question official narratives or reject commonly held beliefs face mockery, ridicule, and social isolation. This powerful deterrent ensures most people remain within strictly accepted boundaries of thought and behavior. These mechanisms do not operate in isolation. They function as a cohesive and interconnected system. Each component reinforces the others. Schools prepare youth for the workforce. Media outlets support political narratives. Manufactured fear drives people toward authority figures, and the perpetual need for money binds it all together. The journey to break free begins with recognizing these patterns. One must learn to notice when thoughts and behaviors stem from programming rather than from conscious, individual choice. It requires critically questioning common beliefs and actively searching for hidden influences. Building genuine connections with others who can see past the surface level is crucial. The system depends on people feeling powerless and isolated. Therefore, understanding how social programming works is the first decisive step toward choosing a different path. True freedom always begins within the mind. The entertainment industry exerts a profound influence over our thoughts and behaviors, far more than we typically acknowledge. From films and video games to music and social media, these platforms feed us a carefully curated selection of content designed to mold our views and values. Consider your favorite television shows and how they present specific lifestyles as normal or ideal. These portrayals are not random. They are calculated decisions intended to establish particular social patterns. The characters you empathize with, the situations you find relatable, and the resolutions that seem obvious are all pre-planned to subtly guide your thinking. Cinema, in particular, utilizes powerful emotional triggers to implant ideas within our minds. When you cry during a poignant scene or feel outrage at a portrayed injustice, those potent emotions forge lasting mental connections. The next time you encounter an analogous situation in real life, you may find yourself reacting automatically, precisely as the film conditioned you to. Social media elevates this control to an unprecedented level. The posts you see, the advertisements that appear, and even the friends suggested to you are all filtered through complex algorithms that meticulously study your behavior. These systems learn what captivates your attention and feeds you more of it, steadily constructing your personalized digital cage. Video games potentially create the most potent programming effect through active participation. By immersing yourself in virtual worlds, you internalize their rules and reward structures. These games train you to follow instructions, relentlessly seek achievements, and accept certain forms of authority, habits that readily transfer into your real-world conduct. Music, lyrics, and videos bypass our critical mental defenses because they feel personal and emotional. We sing along without scrutinizing the messages, allow the rhythms to dictate our moods, and adopt the attitudes displayed by our favorite artists. The catchier a song is, the deeper its programming can penetrate. Infotainment blurs the critical line between fact and fiction by merging serious information with dramatic, sensationalized presentation. This creates confusion about what is genuinely real, making people more susceptible to accepting false narratives and less inclined to question official stories. Celebrity culture functions as a mass distraction system. While public attention is fixated on the lives, relationships, and dramas of famous personalities, people pay less attention to the significant issues that directly impact their own existence. It operates on the principle of a magician's trick. Look here, not there. Product placement within entertainment does more than merely sell items. It sells entire lifestyles and aspirations. When characters use certain brands or live in certain ways, it generates artificial needs and desires. You gradually start believing that you require specific products to achieve happiness or success. Reality television, which might seem harmless, actually normalizes constant surveillance and judgment. It conditions people to accept being perpetually watched and evaluated, while simultaneously promoting competitive, dramatic behavior as a model for normal social interaction. Children's entertainment warrants special scrutiny because it establishes foundational programming From simple cartoons to educational programs, young and impressionable minds absorb messages about authority, success, and acceptable behavior that can persist for a lifetime. Streaming platforms track every piece of content you view and utilize that data to recommend more, creating a powerful feedback loop that relentlessly reinforces certain viewpoints. The more you watch, the more precisely they can target your unique psychological triggers. The culture of binge watching keeps individuals passive and isolated. Instead of engaging with real-world issues or cultivating genuine relationships, many spend hours absorbed in fictional narratives that shape their fundamental understanding of reality. Award shows and entertainment news generate artificial values surrounding success and achievement. They dictate what we should admire, what we should strive for, and what counts as important in life, often promoting shallow and materialistic goals. Even the background music played in public spaces is engineered to affect behavior. Retail stores use specific songs to encourage spending, restaurants select tempos to control dining speed, and offices utilize soundscapes to influence productivity. Sports entertainment channels natural competitive instincts into controlled outlets, while simultaneously manufacturing tribal loyalties. Fans often identify so intensely with teams that they overlook these manufactured divisions, which are designed to distract and divide the populace. The entertainment industry also wields nostalgia as a potent control tool. By recycling old content with slight modern updates, it keeps people emotionally connected to past programming while seamlessly integrating it with current agendas. Observe how entertainment consistently portrays different groups, ideas, or behaviors as either good or bad. These are never arbitrary choices. They are careful, deliberate decisions made to shape social attitudes and beliefs according to specific plans. All these elements coalesce into what can be termed the entertainment matrix, a system that surrounds us with programmed content designed to control how we think, how we feel, and ultimately, how we behave. Breaking free necessitates first recognizing these pervasive influences in our daily media consumption. The most fundamental step to liberate yourself from these control systems is to cultivate a profound awareness of them. At this moment, you might believe, I am already aware. However, true awareness extends far deeper than simply knowing something exists. Begin by examining your daily routine. From the instant you awaken, your attention is pulled in numerous predetermined directions. Your phone buzzes with notifications, the news informs you what to worry about, and advertisements tell you what to want. Social media displays what you should think. None of this is random. It is all carefully engineered to shape your thoughts and behaviors. Consider your social media feed. It is architecturally designed to keep you scrolling, fostering a sense of missing out if you disengage. The more time you invest there, the more your brain becomes rewired to crave that constant stream of external stimulation. The crucial turning point arrives when you recognize this pattern and consciously choose to step back from it. Initiate this process by simply observing your own reactions. When you feel a compelling urge to check your phone, pause, ask yourself, is this my own natural desire, or was this impulse programmed into me? When a desire to purchase something arises, question whether you genuinely need it or if clever advertising manufactured that want. Understand that your thoughts may not be entirely your own. Many originate from television shows, movies, news media, and social platforms. These sources plant ideas that mature into firmly held beliefs, which then act as filters for everything you subsequently see and experience. The path to breaking free starts with identifying these planted thoughts. Attempt this exercise for one full day. Consciously track the origin of your thoughts. Are they grounded in your direct personal experience, or did they emanate from something you watched, read, or heard? The results will likely surprise you. The next stage involves monitoring your emotional reactions. When you feel anger erupt in response to a news story or a political issue, pause and interrogate that response. When you feel a surge of anger, pause and ask, who benefits from this emotion? When a sense of inadequacy washes over you after scrolling through social media, inquire, who profits from my insecurity? Recognize that these feelings are often not entirely your own. They can be tools used to subtly influence and control behavior. Physical awareness is a critical ally in this process. Tune into your body's signals as you consume different types of content. Does the news cause your shoulders to tense up? Do certain social media posts create a tightness in your stomach? Your body frequently detects manipulation long before your conscious mind catches on. Here is another powerful technique. Intentionally create quiet time. Turn everything off. No phone, no television, no music. Sit in complete silence for at least 10 minutes. Initially, this will feel profoundly uncomfortable. That very discomfort is a telling sign of our deep dependency on constant external input. As you practice this regularly, you will begin to hear your own thoughts with greater clarity. Next, critically examine what you consider to be normal. The vast majority of what we accept as standard is actually programmed behavior. Why do we structure our work week around 5 days of labor and 2 days of rest? Why are certain foods designated as breakfast foods? Why do we hold the belief that specific products are essential for our happiness? Make it a habit to question everything you have accepted without your own conscious thought. Pay meticulous attention to language, for words actively shape our perceived reality. Notice how news media employs specific, loaded words designed to trigger emotional responses. Observe how advertising meticulously links the purchase of products to a state of happiness. Watch how social media posts and influencers use language to either create division or foster agreement. Becoming aware of this linguistic engineering is the first step to resisting its influence. Start observing the recurring patterns within all media. See how the same types of stories are repeated. Recognize how they often create a sense of problem or lack, only to offer solutions that conveniently benefit specific groups. Witness how they utilize fear to make you accept conditions you would normally reject. Your attention is an immensely valuable currency. Every time you choose to focus on something, you grant it power. Therefore, you must start being deliberate and careful about where you place your attention. If certain content consistently makes you feel anxious or negative, yet you continue to consume it, ask yourself why. If something fuels your anger, but you keep engaging with it, seriously question who ultimately benefits from your outrage. Breaking free does not necessitate disconnecting from the world completely. Rather, it means becoming conscious of these influences and then making active choices about which ones you allow to affect you. Think of your mind as a house. You get to decide what is permitted to cross the threshold. This takes practice, but it becomes easier over time. Each instance where you catch yourself being unconsciously influenced strengthens your ability to spot it the next time. Every time you question a programmed response, you create a small space for a genuine, authentic choice to emerge. The ultimate goal is not to fight against everything, but to see things clearly so that your choices can be real and intentional. True freedom begins with this awareness. Once you clearly see the systems of influence, they begin to lose their power over you. You can then consciously decide what to integrate into your life and what to leave behind. This cultivated awareness becomes your solid foundation for creating something new. Instead of merely reacting to what is constantly pushed at you, you can start building your own unique way of seeing and being in the world. The mind operates much like a computer, running on programs that dictate how we perceive and act in life. These programs, our core beliefs, ingrained habits, and automatic reactions, are installed from our past experiences, the messages we received from others, and the teachings of society. But just as we can update computer software, We possess the ability to update our own mental programs. Consider your daily routine. Most of your actions occur automatically, from brushing your teeth to your knee-jerk emotional responses. These automatic behaviors and thoughts are like applications running in the background of your mind. Some are helpful and allow you to function efficiently, while others hold you back with fear, doubt, and limiting beliefs. To change these programs, we must first identify them. Pay close attention to your repetitive thoughts and reactions. Notice what consistently triggers specific emotions or behaviors. These patterns reveal which mental programs are currently active. Common examples of limiting programs include, "I'm not good enough," "money is hard to get," "change is scary," or "I don't deserve success." These thoughts may feel true simply because they have been running for so long, but they are merely old software in desperate need of an update. Here is how to install new, empowering mental programs. Begin by selecting one pattern you wish to change. Perhaps you consistently expect the worst outcome. Each time this familiar thought arises, pause and consciously choose a different response. Instead of thinking, "This will go badly," try, "I can handle whatever happens." Your brain learns through repetition. The more you practice new thoughts and responses, the stronger these new neural pathways become. It is like forging a new trail through a forest. At first it is difficult and unfamiliar, but with persistent practice, this new way of thinking becomes your natural automatic path. Employ simple tools to support this process. Write down your new chosen thoughts and read them aloud daily. Act as if your new program is already running. Walk, talk, and carry yourself with the posture of someone who already believes in themselves. Your body language profoundly affects your mind, just as your mind influences your body. Utilize visualization. Vividly picture yourself already being and acting how you want to be. Your brain does not perfectly distinguish between a vividly imagined experience and a real one, so regular visualization powerfully strengthens new mental patterns. Monitor your words carefully, as they actively program your mind. Replace "I can't" with "I'm learning to." Switch "I have to" with "I choose to." These seemingly small changes in language catalyze significant shifts in how you think and feel. Your environment is also a critical factor. Your surroundings constantly feed information into your mind. Be intentional about choosing media, people, and places that support your new programs. If you are programming yourself for success, spend time with people who embody that success. If you are programming for peace, consciously create peaceful spaces in your life. Be patient throughout this process. Your old programs took years to install. New ones require consistent time to take hold. Celebrate every small change. Each time you catch an old pattern and choose a new response, you are actively rewiring your brain. Some people express a fear of losing their identity by changing their thoughts, but you are not losing yourself. You are consciously choosing which parts of yourself to develop and grow. You are becoming more authentically you, rather than being run by old automatic programs. Your mind will inevitably resist change at first. This is normal. Old programs fight to remain active because they feel familiar and safe, even when they no longer serve your well-being. Persist. Each small victory builds momentum for larger changes. Track your progress. Notice how your reactions begin to shift. Perhaps you remain calmer in stressful situations, or perhaps you start taking more positive actions. These are tangible signs that your new programs are working. Remember, you are not permanently stuck with your current mental software. You have the power to update, delete, or install new programs at any time. Your mind is flexible and always capable of learning and changing. You are the one who gets to choose what runs on your mental operating system. Start with a small step. Pick one thought pattern to change this week. Practice your new chosen response consistently. Build upon each success. Soon you will witness how changing your internal mental programs fundamentally changes your entire experience of life. This is not about enforcing naive positive thinking or denying reality. It is about consciously choosing which programs best serve you and your goals. You are taking control of your mental software instead of letting it run on autopilot. Your reality will shift as your mental programs change. What once seemed impossible becomes possible. What felt difficult becomes easier. You begin to create experiences that align with your updated beliefs about yourself and your place in the world. Life transforms the moment we fully accept that we create our experiences through our choices. Each thought, each decision, and each action shapes what happens next. This is not rooted in magic or wishful thinking. It is about understanding the fundamental mechanics of how our minds co-create with reality. Reflect on your morning routine. You wake up and make countless small decisions: what to wear, what to eat, how to react to traffic. These choices might feel random or forced by external circumstances, but they are not. They emanate from patterns we have built over time. Consider what happens when you encounter a challenge, like being stuck in heavy traffic. Most people react automatically. They get angry, honk the horn, or stress about being late. But what if you consciously chose differently? What if you used that time to listen to an interesting podcast, practice deep breathing, or plan your day? The situation remains the same, but the experience is completely different. This is the essence of conscious choice. Instead of operating on autopilot, you stop and ask, what do I want to create from this moment? This question prompts your brain to start searching for options you didn't see before, breaking you free from old patterns. Your brain functions like a sophisticated search engine. It finds what you instructed to look for. If you continually focus on problems, you will see problems everywhere. If you deliberately focus on solutions, your brain will begin to spot opportunities. This is not merely positive thinking. It is the purposeful direction of your attention. Observe how this principle works in relationships. When someone upsets you, your first impulse might be to retaliate or withdraw. However, conscious choice creates a vital space to pause. In that space, you can ask, what response would create the best possible outcome here? Perhaps it is setting a firm boundary, responding with compassion, or simply walking away to cool down. Financial situations clearly illustrate this dynamic. Many people operate from old, limiting stories like, I never have enough, or money is hard to get. These thoughts inevitably create matching behaviors, avoiding financial planning, making impulsive purchases, or missing opportunities. Conscious choices have the power to break this cycle. You can decide to educate yourself about money, diligently track your spending, or start saving a small amount regularly. Fear is a common obstacle to conscious choice. We frequently cling to what is familiar because it feels safe, even when it is clearly not working. Breaking free requires the courage to experiment with new responses. Start in a small area where you desire change. Notice your automatic reactions, and then deliberately experiment with different choices. Your environment significantly shapes your choices. If you want to eat healthier, stock your kitchen with nutritious food. If you want to exercise more, place your workout clothes where you will see them. Make it easier to choose what serves your highest good. Your social circles exert a huge influence on your choices. Notice how you act differently with different groups of people. Some relationships naturally draw out your best self, while others tend to trigger old, unhelpful patterns. You have the power to choose who you spend time with, and, just as importantly, how you choose to show up within those connections. Time management at its core is about choice. Everyone receives the same 24 hours each day, but how we use them varies dramatically. Instead of saying, I don't have time, try stating, this isn't a priority for me right now. This simple linguistic shift puts you back in the driver's seat of your own schedule. Habits are merely choices we have repeated so many times, they have become automatic. To build new habits, make conscious choices repeatedly until they feel natural and ingrained. This may take weeks or months, but profound change always happens one single choice at a time. Your words are powerful creators of your reality. Pay attention to how you talk about yourself and your life. Are you narrating a story of limitation or one of possibility? You can choose different words, and in doing so, you will create a different experience. Even your past can be transformed through conscious choice, not the factual events themselves, but how you interpret and hold them. Was that past failure a total disaster, or was it a valuable lesson? Was that person inherently mean, or were they simply dealing with their own struggles and pain? Your chosen perspective directly shapes how past events affect you in the present. Your physical space both reflects and affects your choices. A cluttered room can foster cluttered thinking. Taking control of your environment empowers you to make clearer, more deliberate choices. Start with one small area and notice how it feels to consciously choose order over chaos. Every single moment presents a choice point. You can react from old, conditioned patterns, or you can respond with awareness and intention. You can focus exclusively on what is wrong, or you can look for what is possible. You can blame external circumstances, or you can take responsibility for creating change. This is not about controlling every external event. Life will always bring the unexpected, but you always retain control over your response to those events. Each conscious choice builds new patterns, and over time, these choices create dramatically different results. With practice, this becomes easier. Start by noticing the choice points that appear throughout your day. Ask yourself, is this choice creating what I truly want? If the answer is no, have the courage to try something different. Small, consistent changes accumulate into significant shifts over time. Your choices today are actively creating your reality tomorrow. Choose with awareness. Choose what serves your growth and well-being. Choose to create rather than merely react. This is how you build the life you truly want. One conscious, intentional choice at a time.